Hi. This week it's going to be a little bit different. We're actually only going to have this one slide in this presentation. It's not going to be anything else. Uh, I'm going to be referring you to an external link down below to read about the Willow Island cooling tower disaster. This was the worst construction accidents in U.S. history ever. On April 27th, 1978, at the Willow Island Power Plant in West Virginia, the top 5 feet of the shell of the hyperboloid cooling tower broke off and fell inward, taking 51 workers with it, and they plunged 170 feet to their deaths. This was a completely preventable disaster, and due to their deaths, there have been a lot of changes in the construction industry and the culture of the construction industry. There were new guidelines, new regulations have been developed. I want you to read about the NRC case study and prepare to discuss what possible steps could have been taken on the job to prevent the disaster, how these steps could be generalized, how they could be applied to other job sites, what should someone learn from reading this report. I also want you to come up with 3 steps that your team could implement on a job site to prevent a disaster like this. I'll have you, once you've come up with those, we'll have a class discussion about it. I want to tell you that ACI actually has provided, since then, has now provided minimum times that concrete forms should remain in place. Forms for columns and walls and sides of beams need to remain in place for at least 12 hours before they're removed. The bottoms of beams and girders should be remain formed for 4 to 7 days if the span is 10 feet or less, 7 to 14 days if it's between 10 and 20 feet, and 14 to 21 days if it's longer. Anyway, go ahead, click on the link and read this and think about what happened there. Think about having to be in that situation where you are calling up the families and saying, "Oh, I'm very sorry that this occurred on our job," or seeing them in court saying, "Oh, I know it could have been prevented," but just keep that in mind.